Hello. Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me? Peter, Sarah, Amosun, can you all hear me?
We're hearing you.
All right. Thank you so much. Good afternoon once again. How has been our day? I hope it's fine. Once again, I apologize for coming to class late. It wasn't intentional. My institution today is our convocation, and it's from a different campus to where I base, and I didn't take my laptop along, so I had to rush down and try to get myself balanced and get to the office. So please accept my apology. So without wasting further time, we'll go straight into the lesson of today. Earlier today or yesterday, yeah, I think yesterday I posted the instructional video. Did we manage to access it from the school page? If you is getting to the students. All right, today we are going to Unit 2, right? How many of us has gone through? Okay. Ioma, I can see your electronic hand. You can speak up. Ioma? Okay, maybe we lost you.
Hello? Hello?
Okay.
Hello? He accepted that you sent those things to him, but he did not send it to our WhatsApp group. Maybe
No.
it is only that you send it to. We did not get any.
Oh, it was not sent to an individual. It was sent on the school page. So as many students that registered, you were about 2,000 something. As many students that registered would receive. If you have an active email and you sent it to the school, you will get the email. So if you're not getting it, it's either your email is not active or something is wrong. Yeah, but for the instructional video, you have to go to the school page before you can access it. I think what I should also be doing is to also be sending it via our WhatsApp page.
Yes, WhatsApp is better.
It's okay, it's noted. From now going forward, it's well noted. I will also be sending it on the WhatsApp, okay?
Oh, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. So today we are on Unit 2. And which is a primary healthcare concept and the principles, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so, and you know, like I said, that the essence of facilitation is not for me to lecture you or to teach you. It's just for me to moderate the group, okay? So you will be the one to actually teach me, because you have received this, I've sent the instructional video, your course materials is there. So it is believed, or I believe that you have gone through it, so you would have ideas to share with me or areas of clarification that you want to clarify. So let me, okay. Okay, so what is primary health care? Yeah, the concept of primary health care. What do you understand by primary health care? If we may start from there. Who wants to share his or her thoughts on that? Remember, this is class and I crave for your response. So last week, you guys did fantastic. I like the way we're all contributing in class. So it was a lively one. And I would expect that we keep that standard, not lowering that standard. So who wants to share with us? What
Hello,
do you
good afternoon, ma.
understand? Good afternoon.
Yes, what I understand by primary healthcare is a bedrock of all healthcare. It provides promotive and preventive measures.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's a good try. Yeah. You said it's the bedrock. No, some will call it the grassroots because
Yes,
it's
ma.
at the community base. Yes. And its focus is on preventive measures. So at the PAC level, so you want to advocate prevention, you want to promote health, and you want to treat the illnesses that is already occur and rehabilitate. So at the PAC level, okay, don't let me, and now I'm beginning to. So any other thoughts on that? Okay. So it's actually, I've already introduced the topic that today's topic is Unit 2, right? And I said the title of Unit 2 that we are looking at is Primary Healthcare Concept and Principles Structure. And so we are looking at we are looking at the PAC, yes, at the PAC, Primary Healthcare Concept. And one of your colleagues has already shed light on that. And I also want to add that there is 4 key aids under the definition of PAC, which I also want us to look to remind ourselves of. So who know the 4 aids? The key 4 aids in the definition of PAC, primary health care.
One, accessible. It must be accessible.
Excellent.
And it must be acceptable.
Acceptable, good.
Affordable.
Affordable, yeah.
Appropriateness.
And what?
Appropriate technology.
Must be appropriate.
Okay, it must be appropriate.
Appropriate technology.
Okay, with appropriate technology. Okay. Okay, so we've mentioned affordable, acceptable, accessible, acceptable, available. Do you understand? So it's not enough that you have a PAC in a community, but the distance to people's home mustn't be far. They mustn't feel stressed before they can access that facility. So that is one. And when they access the facility, another focus is that the cost must not be burdensome for them. That is why it is affordable. Everyone should be able to afford the cost of health. So thank you all. And there is a general acceptable definition of PAC. It was accepted, or don't let me say accepted, or in a conference during the Alma Ata in which year? Who can remind us?
1970.
1970. No.
1978.
73.
1978.
1978. Thank you. It's 1978. 1978. So just note that in case you see it. So quickly, those are the concepts. And another thing I want us to look at is the involving of the PAC. Before we have what we have today as primary health care, it is important for us to note that there was an international conference on primary health care during the Alma Ata, and they had a conceptualization of the aids that we've mentioned. That is accessibility, that healthcare service must be accessible, it must be available, and it must be affordable to the rural community. And what do they actually re-examine? They look at the evaluation of service and the economic of the development, and they emphasize the approach of privilege to healthcare must be shifted to be accessible to the underprivileged. By the way, when we say underprivileged, who would you classify as underprivileged?
Those of them that are poor.
Okay. Okay. When you say people are poor,
In poverty now, poverty of education, poverty of food. Those people that cannot even fend for themselves.
that's a good trial. That's a good trial. But nowadays, you will see that even those of us that have gone to school, we are sometimes poor in knowledge of what to do when it comes to health. So when we say the underprivileged, it's not necessarily that they are poor. And we look at people who are living in the rural areas. So to me, I won't consider them as poor, because how do we define poverty? Because these people actually stay in the community, they grow their own food. They have access to food, but it was in the context of health. So they are underprivileged because mostly industries and good hospitals are situated in the urban areas. Are you understanding?
Yes.
So you see the teaching hospitals. How many teaching hospitals do you and I have in our villages? None. None. States, none. But what we will find there most of the time is the PAC. So underprivileged do not mean that they are necessarily poor in terms of finance. We are talking in the context of healthcare service. So I hope we are clear on that.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So another thing that I also want us to look at, we'll look at the definition of health, and we'll look at the aids, the accessible, the acceptability, the affordability, and the appropriateness. And so we also want to look at the element of primary health care. And I want us to share with me the different components or different elements. How many do we have in the first place? 6 or 8?
8.
8.
Excellent. So would you mind sharing with me the 8 components of primary health care, or the 8 elements?
We have education on the prevailing health conditions,
Okay.
prevention and controls of those
Okay.
prevailing health conditions.
Okay.
We have maternal and child care. We
Okay.
have immunization.
Okay.
We have
Promotion of food
promotion of
supply.
health, food supply, and proper
Okay.
nutrition.
Okay. Okay.
Prevention
Prevention
and
and
control of
control.
Can we
Mental
have it one after the other? Remember, this is class, so let's not make it crowded. All right, those are the 8 components, as you have mentioned: education concerning the prevailing health problems and the method of preventing and controlling them; promotion of food supply and proper nutrition; an adequate supply of safe water and basic sanitation; maternal and child health care, including family planning, immunization against major infectious diseases, prevention and control of locally endemic diseases, appropriate treatment of common diseases and injury, and lastly, provision of essential drugs. So those are the elements of PAC. So, and we also have principles. Someone will be wondering, is there difference between principles of PAC and element of PAC? Are they different?
They are different.
Okay, okay, okay. So when we say principle, what are the principles guiding PAC? Can I?
Yes, equitable distribution of resources.
Okay.
That is one of the principles we look at primary health. Then we have a community involvement and participation.
Okay.
There is intersectoral cooperation, also part of it. Then we have manpower development.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Those are the principles of PAC. And it's interesting that how do you think a PAC or a facility or an hospital can function if you don't have manpower? It's not possible. It's not possible. So, and community also has to be involved. Because if they are not involved, trust me, they will not patronize that center. Hence, that is why we have community involvement or partnership as one of the principles of PAC. And we have this equitable distribution of resources. So when the government is distributing resources, there has to be fairness in the way they distribute these resources. So, Peter, you are quiet today. I hope you are still with us.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So those are ideally, we will unpack the elements of PAC, which I think there is a kind of elaboration on it during the introduction, instructional video that I gave. So in the interest of time, would just give a brief short explanation on each of the elements of the PAC. So when we say of the principle, I mean principles of PAC. The first we want to look at is the attainment of a high. Okay, maybe let me share my video on that so that you can tell. It's a bit. Let me try and share video on that. Or maybe before I even share my slides, who can expatiate on the word equitable distribution of resources? What do you understand by equitable distribution of resources?
Can I talk?
Hello?
Hello? Yes, we can hear you. Sunday, you can speak up first. I will appreciate if you want to talk, just raise your electronic end so that I don't find 2, 3, 4 students speaking at the same time. Okay, Sunday, I can see your electronic hand. You may go ahead.
When we say equitable distribution of resources, we're looking at equal sharing of health resources among beneficiaries. And when we talk of beneficiary, looking at the rural and the urban communities. So the government that is responsible for providing this particular primary primary health care resources or services to the people should consider people that are in the rural area as well as people that are in the urban area. If we look at what is happening today, most people live, the dwellers, there are 80% of the people who need these particular services, 80% of them are in the rural area. But how many of our healthcare services get to them? At least about 20% is what they get, and the remaining 80% is in the urban area. So the stakeholders should be able to distribute these resources equally to them, because all of us will have equal right to health. And so if there is marginalization, there will be a problem. And so there should be a equitable distribution of resources between the urban area and the rural area. They are also looking at privilege and the underprivileged too. So it should be equal. There should be no disparity, there should be no inequality among the distribution of resources and how they access these particular healthcare services.
All right, thank you so much. That was a good thought, and I appreciate. Peter, I can see your electronic hands up. Let's hear your thoughts.
Okay, thank you, Ma, and thank you, colleagues. Equitable distribution of resources is how we
I
act
think,
what my colleague
Peter,
has said. Yes,
let
ma'am.
me interject you. You
Okay.
have to pick on another principle. You have manpower resources. So he just spoke on equitable. So you have to pick another principle and share your thoughts on that. Don't forget that we mentioned about 5: manpower
Yes, ma'am.
development, community participation, appropriate technology, and so on.
It's okay. So I will talk about manpower, ma.
Okay.
Yeah, the stakeholders in conjunction with the community should be able to have equal number of required staff at all the PHCs cut across the communities. The one you find in the city center as PSC and the one you find in the most rural area should have those manpowers required. Thank you.
When you say manpower required, what and which categories of professionals would you expect to find in the PHC? Only the community health workers, only the doctors, only the nurses, or
Okay. You find a mix of all of them. The doctors should be available,
okay,
accessible. The nurses, the community health workers,
okay,
including community volunteers, so that the entire team will work together for the good of that community.
okay. Thank you so much.
You're
All right,
welcome.
thank you. You may raise your electronic. And so who wants to share his or her thoughts on the next point, which is community involvement and participation? Community involvement. When you say community, okay, let's hear your thoughts.
Okay. When sharing, when involving, when making a PSC, the community should be actively involved, being the major the primary stakeholders in that place. Because the people being away from that facility send away the community members from there. So for us to have a better participation and active performance, the community should be consulted and should be carried along. Not that foreigners will come and sit, give decision and do what they want to do. Definitely there won't be any participation by the community.
I quite agree with you that when the government or when the leaders wants to build a community health in a community, the community has to be involved. And when we say community has to be involved, it means the leaders, the community leaders, the Oba of that community or the king of that community, you need to carry them along. You need to understand some basic things. and if possible, train people from that community to be co-worker in that PAC. That's one good way in which you will get the patronage of that community. Otherwise, if you just go and do your own thing, you will discover that both the nurses and the doctors and the community health worker and everybody that is employed there will just come and they won't see patients, that means the purpose of establishing that facility is already defeated. If people are sick in their home and they are not seeking health care. So thank you very much. And the last one, okay, not the last one, second to the last, which is appropriate technology, and the last one is intersectoral coordination. You know, how do you think it would be wise to carry an ECG machine, an MRI machine to a PAC that they don't see those cases? Okay, I can see electronic and you may share your thoughts.
Okay, the World Health Organization have a particular standard for primary healthcare centers, secondary facilities, and tertiary facilities, including research centers. So
Okay.
I so much believe equipments that are necessary at the primary level, which is mostly preventive, promotive, and curative, should have appropriate equipments needed, not sophisticated equipments that are needed by the highly skilled personnel to avoid waste of resources, waste of equipments and technology needed. Required standard of equipments provided by the World Health Organization should be adhered to strictly. Not that because you have a governor in your place, you want all those things that are needed in the teaching hospital to be deployed to the PHC. Yes, would not make it wise. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Titus. Aya, let's hear your thoughts. Aya, are you still with us? Okay, you can speak. Okay, while we are waiting for Aya to get back to us, Sunday.
Okay, I think Mr. Peter said a very nice striking point, and to consolidate on that, scientific procedures should be made simple, practicable, and as accessible to the healthcare providers who are working in those PHC, so that it goes out of an appropriate technology that should be deployed in rendering services to the community, to the people in question. So as he has rightly said, we should not allow what should be in a teaching hospital within primary healthcare center, because the goal will be defeated. It will not be able to achieve that particular basic level of healthcare services to the people if we want to do what the tertiary level.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Aya, are you ready to share your idea? Okay, you may lower your electronic hand if you are not going to talk. Okay. All right, so we've just briefly elaborate on the principles of primary health care. And we said, let's try to remind ourselves that one is equitable distribution of resources, manpower, intersectoral coordination. What else?
Appropriate technology.
Appropriate technology. Yes. So I hope that
community participation.
community involvement and participation. Yes. So thank you all. And that is it. I hope that if you find it in anything, maybe assignments or quiz or exam, you should be able. And another thing, students, I need to let you know, if in exam you see something, a question that says that enumerate the 6 elements of primary health care center. Don't just list. Whenever you see the word enumerate, you have to first list, because by first listing the question attracts some marks. Then picking them one after the other and explaining also carries marks. So when you see enumerate this, enumerate that, don't just list, please. You try to write a short description of each point. So that's just a digression. Ayahu, Victoria, please, you are welcome to share your thoughts. Okay. So the next thing that I want us to talk about before we round up is agriculture, water supply, sanitation, and housing sector. Let's try to share the importance of these factors to PHC. Unkamaka, please, can you please, we are in class, you are disturbing our class. I muted you and you muted yourself. And there is a lot of background noise from your end. Please kindly mute yourself. Thank you. Mohammed. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, let's hear your thoughts.
My contribution is about intersectoral collaboration. So when we talk in that aspect, we know that every other sector have a role to play when it comes to primary healthcare services. For example, one of the mandate of primary care services ensure that adequate nutrition. So as a primary healthcare level, there's a need for one to collaborate with the Ministry of Agriculture in order to ensure the availability of nutritious food among the populace. And also we can collaborate with other, at primary level, one can collaborate with other sectors like Ministry of Education in a way, because there's a need for health education. You can use mass media on the health issues. And there are also like a Ministry of Water Resources. We have to, at primary level, there's need to collaborate with this ministry in order to ensure the availability of wholesome water among the not only rural area, but also the urban areas.
Okay.
So, where intersectoral collaboration comes in.
Okay. Thank you for your thoughts. That's a nice contribution. Sunday?
Okay.
Yeah, you may speak.
Okay. Mohammed has said quite a good contribution on that. Thank you for that. Another aspect is sanitation as well as housing. You know, in collaborating with other sectors that deal with housing, let's say housing sector, if the houses we live in are well planned and are situated in the right position, it will help in improving the health of the community. So it is good for the health sector to collaborate with housing sector to be able to achieve this health for all as required with regard to sanitation. All right, how does this come? You know, if a house is properly situated, you also know how the drainages will be. the parts where the drainages will be and where water waste will pass. If they are not properly aligned, it could lead to diseases, infections, diseases, and other things if the sanitation is not properly done. So there is need for collaboration with this sector to be able to do their work well, so that to be able to attain the goal of the primary health services as required.
All right. Thank you so much for that contribution. It's true. No, there is a saying that says that there is no one tree does not make a forest, and there is no one person that knows it all. So collaboration is very important. It yields a good outcome. So quickly, the next point I want us to discuss is the role of nurses in the PAC. Nurses play 4 major roles, especially in the PAC. We want to quickly look at the four roles that nurses play. And let me just share my slide on that, so you quickly look at the sketch that I have here. So I think, yeah. Okay, so you can see the nurse as what?
No, as a direct care provider.
Excellent. The nurse as
a teacher and
educator.
Okay, the third point.
Supervisor
and manager.
And the last point.
Researcher
and evaluator.
Excellent. So you can see we are great. Nurses are great. So when we say we are professional nurse, we have a role to provide a direct care to our clients, to our patients. Not only that, at the same time, nurses are teachers. We are educators. Nurses are not only a caregiver, not only teachers, not only educators. Nurses are also managers, supervisors. And lastly, we are researchers. We are researchers. And that is why today, how far nurses has gone. We have a lot of professors in nurses. Is because some are specialized to be a researcher. So we want to unpack this 4 points. When we say nurse, the nurse as a direct caregiver, as a caregiver, what exactly does a caregiver nurse who is serving that role, what exactly does that nurse do? Let's try to share our thoughts on that. Yeah, I can see Sunday, your hand is raised. Yes, I can see Aya. Who wants to go first?
It's me, Victoria.
Okay, you're welcome, Victoria, to share your thoughts.
Nurse as a caregiver is what I want to share. In giving the care in the hospital setting, the nurse does the assessment of the patient on arrival, diagnose and give and do the vital signs, then give the prescribed drug. Even if the nurse that we indicate or assess where there is a serious deviation from the normal, is the nurse that will alert the doctors in the healthcare system. So as a direct caregiver, we do all those things to help our patients. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nurses at the PAC, it is important for us to understand that our role as a direct caregiver is not limited to the clinic. many are times we even do home visits when we work in the community. True or false?
Yeah, it's true.
Yes, yes. So it might be one nurse that will go with the team of community health workers, visiting to see what is happening in that community or what is prevailing. Okay, so many a times it's not just to do vital signs, especially when we are the community setting and just prescribe drugs. Now you remember during the in the hospital, drugs for us nurses is not always the first line of action we take, is it? It's not.
Yes.
Yes.
You
For
do the
instance, there being a
vital
child,
sign.
yes, after you do a vital signs and you see that this child is running temperature, is paracetamol the first thing we give as nurses?
No, no
No,
way.
no. With tepispon, we expose the patient first. No, we do tepisponging depending on the age of this child. So I want us to be as practical as possible because some of us will have the privilege to be posted in the community to work with the rural people. We need to understand. Okay. So thank you. That's a good trial. So the nurse as a teacher. Who wants to share his or her thought on that? On the role of a nurse as a teacher. Okay, Jonathan,
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
You may
Yes,
speak.
I want to share on the concept of nurse as a teacher and educator.
Okay.
For instance, now in our primary health cares, when like for instance in the reproductive, the sexual reproductive department and also family planning, when you
Okay.
go to family planning department, a nurse has to take his time to explain to the patient, that is to his or her clients, on the advantages and the disadvantages of the family planning. And then you need to educate them on the concept of family planning. Then it is now left for the patient or your client to now make their choices on which of the family planning they wish to go for.
Okay.
And in that aspect, a nurse serves as an educator and a teacher. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. That's just for an example. Yes. And those who work in the maternity session, especially who work in the ANC unit, that you deal with pregnant women. We give health education on what the woman should eat and how she needs to take care of herself and things like that. And the same thing, those who even work in the urban area, when you get a client, for instance, a client that presents with a diabetes, we want to give an health education on the lifestyle, feeding lifestyle that the person needs to embrace now. So a nurse is a teacher and is also an educator as well. Take for instance now, my role now, I am an educator. I am a teacher. Oh, I'm a professional nurse. So you understand. So I'm teaching students. I am a teacher. I'm an educator. In addition to other nurses role that I have. So a nurse, the nurse as a teacher or as an educator is not necessarily a classroom teacher. And that is the idea with the PAC. So we educate community. When we see an incident in the community, we give health education. So that's it. Thank you. The nurse as okay, I see someone posted on the chat here, the nurse as a researcher and evaluator. The nurse uses the data generated in the course of care to find more ways of intervention in order to serve the community better. He or she evaluates the care rendered for an evidence-based practice. Excellent. Yes, yes, that's one. That's the another aspect of the nurse as a researcher. And the last point on the role of nurses is the nurse as a supervisor or manager. Yes. So who wants to bail us out on that?
Let me try.
All right, Victoria.
In this, as a supervisor and manager, the nurse supervises the environment to find out the health needs of the community. Like and also listen to their view to know their own needs, what they need, not necessarily what the community, because it is them. Since they are in participation of the healthcare, you have to inquire from them what they need. Then you communicate with the community. You'll be communicating maybe with the heads of the community, or through the heads of the community. That is where you will communicate. Then you add to the other sectorial body. Then you advise them accordingly. If you have any advice that you give, Brenda, you then advise them. That is what I say, manager, because you supervise them, you manage, you give them, you charge them. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, you want to add something to what Victoria said, Sunday?
Yes.
Okay, you may go ahead, please.
Okay. Nurse as a supervisor and manager. First, on the managerial level, resources will be committed into your hands in the primary healthcare sector. And those resources are resources that should be used for the betterment of our clients. And so the nurse must find an appropriate way to use those resources in a way that will be beneficiary to the client. Now, there are things you need to do. Guys, when we look at affordability, there are things that will be in your possession. You find a closest possible way that you make these things affordable for people. You are managing, you manage the resources of these people. And then also as a supervisor, monitoring is very, very important, because if you provide the healthcare services to the community, and maybe you give a drug to a patient, a client, and you ask the person, the client, to go take the drug. At least as a supervisor, there is a need for you to supervise whether to ask or monitor whether this patient actually takes this drug at the right time, or he didn't actually, follow the instruction given for this particular service that have been provided, for him or her to get optimal result from these particular services that have been given. So those are some of the concerns and things that the nurses do in PHC.
Okay, thank you very much. I posted a question on the chat there. I said, are nurses leaders? And I see some comments coming in. Yes, they are. They lead healthcare. They lead, I believe the person wanted to type, they lead healthcare team and are the best leader. Excellent. Nurses are the best leaders. That's good. Yes, nurses are also leaders. We are leaders. We are in position, or we have been put in various health sectors. We have been put in leadership positions. So we know that nurses are not just clinicians. Nurses are not just bedside nurses. Nurses are not just direct care providers. We are leaders, we are managers, we are researchers, we are educators, we are teachers, and so on and so forth. And so that is where we are going to end the class today. But in conclusion, let me conclude by saying that in this unit 2, we have covered the concepts and definition of primary health care, the practical approach to making essential health care universally accessible to individuals, families, community in an acceptable and affordable way. And pardon me, let me just share a slide to conclude this class before I ask for question and answer. Yeah, I said we are concluding, and I believe that at the end of today's lecture, today's facilitation, we can say that we have covered the concept and definition of primary health care. The PAC is a practical approach to making essential health care universally accessible to individuals, families, and community in a way that is acceptable to them and is affordable to them, and they can fully participate. That is the whole, the summary of what we have been discussing in the concept of PAC. And we also mentioned 8 elements or 8 components of primary health care and the principles of primary health care. And please don't mix it up. The concept is 8 and the principle is 5 or so. So let's not mix things up here. So that's where we are going to stop today. I want to welcome contributions or questions before we call it a day. So do we have questions? Do we have contributions? Okay, in the absence of question or contribution, I want to appreciate every one of you for being patient with me today. Even though I was late to come online, you were patient enough to wait for me. I really appreciate that, and for your contribution. I would try to paste or load this on the school page by God's grace before the day runs out. Yes, I'll post it and share the link on our WhatsApp page. And if you do have any question or any clarification, remember, that's why we open a group chat so that we can interact before our next meeting. So I'll see you same time next week by God's grace and same day. Until then, remain blessed.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
I'm seeing a question. Please, is there any environmental health student here? Is there any environmental health students? Please, can you post that question on our WhatsApp page? Thank you.
Please,
Bye.
ma, I'm not on the WhatsApp page, ma.
Oh, Lawan.
Jonathan.
Jonathan. Okay, yeah,
Yes,
Lawan is the admin. I'm not sure if you know Lawan. Okay, please add my
I'm here.
number. Okay, so Jonathan, please, Lawan,
Yes, ma.
can you post your number now? Let them
Okay.
see so that they would chat with you privately for them to be added to the group.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see Abdul Salam too. So what's your number? Let's just put it on the chat the way you did last week. Then they will copy it and
okay. I have tested my, please, you can add me up.
Okay.
okay. Okay, it's fine. Lawan, I will just, you can just, guys, just paste yours here. I'll send it to the class representative later.
All right. Thank you.
All right. All right. Enjoy
Thank you.
your evening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, ma.
Bye.
Bye, ma. Thank you, ma.
You're welcome.